Watch today, especially for Border Guard Day 2019. Why two unique points of the Ukrainian border are almost inaccessible to most citizens? Why Alexander Usyk poses in a green beret? What is a true failure and who has the right to eat apples grown on the island of Zmyiny? 10 interesting facts in the program Perimeter. The Ukrainian border is the longest in Europe. Its perimeter is close to 7,000 kilometers. That is slightly less than the distance from Kiev to Canada's capital, Ottawa. 5,638 kilometers go over land. 1,355 kilometers are under the Black Sea, the Azov Sea, and the Kerch Strait. Each part is quite unique. It is difficult to believe, but it unites almost all of the landscapes on the planet. There are mountains with plains, forests, seas, and also rivers and lakes, though without glaciers and deserts. Not far from the border, only 30 kilometers from the seacoast, is the largest desert in Europe, known as the Oleshkivsky Sands. 200 hectares of real sand drifts in the Kherson Oblast can be considered the most mysterious place in Ukraine, and there are hundreds of such unique objects at the border. The Zmyiny Island is located in the Black Sea. Only a few people were lucky to get there, because access to it is only by boat or helicopter. The settlement is called Bile. The only island border unit is based here. If you ask what border guards do on this small piece of land, do not doubt that they have their work cut out for them. The outpost controls the sea space up to the western coast of Crimea. The task is to identify undesirable guests. Undesired guests are quite common. Poachers enjoy fishing in this area, and 28 miles eastward from there the occupying country openly produces Ukrainian gas. Russian warships protect fishing by poachers, and this is quite dangerous. That is why preventing the attack of an enemy on the island was included in the last international exercises under the Sea Breeze program. It is said that strong winds affect any vegetation, except grass. This is not true. Apple trees grow on the Zmyiny Island, are well protected from stormy weather and even bear fruits. However, only one who has served here for 6 months can taste an island apple. That's a tradition. 900 kilometers north of the Zmyiny Island, there is one of the oldest Ukrainian cities, Novhorod-Seversky, which was founded in 988 when Volodymyr the Great built a fortress along the Desna River. Here many unique monuments have survived to this day. One of them is the Monastery of the Savior and Transfiguration. But Novhorod-Seversky is interesting not only for its history. Indeed, not far away from the northernmost point of the Ukrainian perimeter, there is the village of Hremyach. Here, at the Ukrainian-Russian border, the crossing point with the same name is functional. Here, border guards inspect documents and search luggage in vehicles for contraband. And if the guards ask them where they served, the answer in the extreme north is pure truth. Regarding the southernmost point of the perimeter, it was stolen from Ukraine. This is Foros, which was located in the annexed Crimea. This unique resort with a subtropical climate has long attracted thousands of tourists from around the world. Today, due to its occupation by Russia, the result is that local beaches and the curative air are now available to a limited number of individuals. You can be sure that you will have a chance to dip into the warm seawater near the extreme southern point of the border when Ukraine regains Crimea. This will happen sooner than most think. Now let's look for the highest and lowest places of the perimeter. The first task is simple. It's the Carpathian Peak, Pip Ivan Marmarosky. Its height is almost 2 kilometers. The Marmaros range separates Ukraine and Romania, so the southern slope of Pip Ivan Marmarosky is situated in the neighboring country. Just take a look at this beauty. It is not for nothing that Marmarosky is called the Hutsul Alps. High peaks, the sharp cliffs, and unique vegetation are definitely worth seeing with your own eyes. But do not hurry. If you didn't forget to warn border guards and take documents, then have a pleasant trip and enjoy the beautiful scenery. It's hard to find the lowest point. After all, it hides at the bottom of the Black Sea near Alushta in Crimea, 12 miles from coast with a sea depth of 1,665 meters. This particular place is not accessible for scuba divers or submarines. It's too deep. So exploration of deep water fauna is only possible with bathyscaphe. But Ukrainian scientists have no access here. Now the main invader is searching for amphorae. It doesn't immerse to great depths, a maximum of 80 meters. Who knows what waits for the leader of the Green Man on the bottom of the stolen aquatic heritage? Maybe some monster? And bathyscaphe won't save them. From ancient times, borders were marked with special symbols. The most famous is a border post. The Ukrainian one is 2 meters high and is painted in the colors of the national flag of Ukraine, with the coat of arms on top. It's impossible to install border posts where one wishes. The location of each, there are over 7,000 of them along the Ukrainian perimeter, is determined by international agreements. But it turns out that the post is only a part of the border sign. It includes 3 parts, 2 large posts representing states and 1 smaller post. Its official name is Central. However, in professional jargon, this sign is called kopets, so archaic terms survived to our times. This kopets is on the border line. Behind it, don't move. It's quite different from how it was described in the famous Ukrainian song. If the border runs along a river, posts are placed on both banks. If you ask what about the sea, don't worry. This buoy is a special border sign. It is fixed on the bottom, and from time to time its location is inspected. Watch next. How many inhabitants of our planet crossed the borders of independent Ukraine? Why the largest consignment of drugs in history was hidden in scrap metal? And what do citizens of Verona thank Ukrainian border guards for? Ukraine is a hospitable country. During its independence, over 2 billion people have crossed its borders. This is a quarter of the planet's population. Add another 426 million and becomes clear that there is no threat of international isolation. All the documents are inspected by the border guards working at 198 crossing points. Yahodin is the most powerful crossing point on the western border of Ukraine. Its main advantage is the short trip from Kiev to Warsaw, Berlin and Paris. 9,000 citizens visit Yahodin every day, and during the tourist season this number is even higher. The traffic of vehicles at the Hoptivka crossing point in the east of Ukraine, at the country's largest airport in Boryspil, is no less intense. In one shift, an inspector of the border control at these crossing points checks up to 1,000 documents, and it's a huge responsibility, because in a matter of a few minutes, the inspector should not only enter the data into the computer system, but also determine whether the passport is genuine or fake, whether its owner is not in search. Finally, the inspector is to clarify the purpose of the person's visit. During the work of the service, Green Berets could detect 23,000 owners of false documents and refused almost 700,000 people to cross the border. They also detained 153,000 illegal migrants, 16,000 weapons, and almost 30 tons of drugs. Border guards, in close cooperation with customs officers and SBU officers, found a record number of drugs in 2010. This was at the port of Odessa, where 3 consignments of cocaine with a total weight of almost 2 tons. Drug dealers tried illegally to transport on foreign vessels. A flow of narcotic goods from Bolivia and Venezuela were planned for delivery to EU countries. Interestingly, they were hidden in scrap metal. Quite a creative approach. Criminals used 2 pipes of different diameters to transport the so-called snow drug. They hoped these scrap metal pipes would pass through X-rays, and who needs this dirty scrap? However, the prospect of dirtying their hands did not stop law enforcers. They considered the cargo and the route to be suspicious. The result, they uncovered pure cocaine estimated at hundreds of millions of dollars on the black market. In total, there were almost 70 million doses, each of which could be fatal. What do you know about Verona? Right, this is the city of Romeo and Juliet. Here's the house of Shakespeare's Juliet at Via Capello, a paradise for lovers. Tourists from all over the world also come here to the famous opera festival in the local amphitheater. But the Castle Museum was not lucky. Due to a crisis, money was saved on the guards. 17 unique Renaissance paintings were stolen in 2015. The criminals turned off the alarm system and started cutting out invaluable works by Rubens, Corrado, Pisanello, Tintoretto, and Mantegna. The estimated value of this World Heritage is 15 million euros. The burglars were detained, but these classic works of art were not found. In a year, the masterpieces appeared in Ukraine. Jointly with law enforcers from several countries, border operatives managed to finally track them down. The secret conspiracy of international criminals, their safe house in Odessa, and their cache on the Turanchuk Island. All this reminded the detective. Border guards were in a hurry. All these canvases could be transported anywhere through the seaports. They said someone in Russia was ready to get a royal gift. But they failed. This brilliant special operation helped to return the paintings to Italy. Salvaging of the unique collection was the greatest work of the border agency over its years. Watch next why Alexander Usyk poses in green beret and why Border Day is celebrated on April 30th. On May 25th, the renowned Ukrainian boxer Alexander Usyk debuts in a heavyweight match. Millions of fans from all over the world are looking forward to this event. The commentaries of analysts and bookmakers are on the rise. However, not very many people know that Alexander served as a border guard. It was the sports committee that gave him a start to his career in boxing. But he was not the only athlete that it helped. Do you remember this young man? His name is Ruslan Ponomarov. In 2002, this 18-year-old Ukrainian became a world champion in chess. And who among football fans knows the legendary footballer Andriy Shevchenko, nicknamed Sheva, also served a border guard. He won the Golden Ball and became the all-time scorer of the Champions League of Ukraine. Serhiy Rebrov, Vladislav Vashchuk, and Alexander Shavkovsky trained with him on the same team. 12 international records, 1 Olympic record, 16 European records, and 36 national records were set by athletes that served as border guards of Ukraine. In 1995, three-time world champion in the triple jump, Inessa Kravets set a world record of 15.5 meters. After a quarter of a century, no athlete in this sport managed to break this record, and this is a very good sign. On the day of the fight, all border guards are going to support Alexander. He already received a lucky talisman, a green beret. Border Guard Day is celebrated on April 30th. This year is already the second time. This date was not chosen by chance. In late April of 1918, troops of the Army of the Ukrainian People's Republic headed by Volodymyr Sienkiewicz liberated the greater part of the Donbass region and then approached the border with Russia, controlled by the Bolsheviks and the Great Don Army. Blue and yellow pillars were immediately installed at the border of this region. Here, so to speak, I felt how Ukrainian lands had been separated from others. Volodymyr Sienkiewicz recalled that day. Later that day, the Cossacks brought 2 high pillars, painted them with yellow and blue paints found at the station. They painted a trident on each pillar and wrote the insignia under them, the Ukrainian People's Republic. So more than 100 years ago, Ukrainian independence fighters established the first symbols at the border of Ukraine. On that day, the border service was born. Today we congratulate border guards on this holiday.